Shalom, welcome to Kabbalah Academy. Today is time for another crown jewel word analysis where we look at a certain topic, namely reincarnation. Reincarnation, as in the English word reincarnate, as well as reincarnation. And then we'll take a look at the Hebrew word, which is Gilgul. And due to the amount of information and numbers that came out, I decided to do it a little different because to write it out would be a very lengthy video and hard to follow. So stick with me. Let's go. Of course, we'll have sources from Likkutei, from the Torah, Tanakh, I should say, because it includes the writing of the sages, and we're going to look at Yechezkel there, and we have a couple of Zohar sources also. So let us begin with the English word reincarnation. That would be a resh for the R, an ayin for the E, a yud for the I, an nun for the N, kaf for the C, aleph for the A, resh for the R, nun for the N, aleph for the A, tet for the T, yud, wav, nun for the for the I-O-N. Sorry, I-O-N, this being the top of the nail. The wav can be V-O-U-W, and the O is always the top of the nail. Okay, so let us look what kind of values we find in there. So first of all, if we would split the word up here, reincarnate with the ayin would be reincarnate, ayin for the E. And the ayin has a value of 70, which are the 70 nations, the 7 forms, right? The 6 I hate, the 7 are an abomination. We'll keep repeating it, leaving us with reincarnate, which has a value of 611, which is the value of Torah, simply because the only true significance it has to reincarnate, which is not a blessing. The reincarnation is not a blessing, it's a necessary thing, because we are here just to study Torah, and that alone. And I don't mean a literal shut reading without soit, I mean combining written and oral Torah, right? Rectification there in Tiferes with the Malchut, Zot and Zeh, okay, Kabbalah and Torah. So further values. We see Ra, evil, okay, so evil. And then we see the value of the restitutional letters here being 407. 407 is the value of Arur, cursed. Right? Cursed was the ground. We know that from former videos and studies from the Torah, right? The ground was cursed for your sake, thorns and thistles. The video about thorns and thistles have the same calculation. They're explained in another way, connected to other words. Everything is connected. So, what else do we see? So therefore, 407 is also the value of Ata, you, right? And then plus the Ra is you are evil. And you are evil can be repermutated to earth. See, and that's precise because the sum total here is 677, which is an incolel of 676, which are the exact amount of words used in Exodus, Shemos 7:14 till 11:10 to describe the 10 plagues. right? Which are curses. The 10 plagues against Mitzrayim. And Mitzrayim is the earth, Malchut, okay? Kol Maves, all death. So this reincarnation is a very necessary thing, but you want to break through that system, okay? It is a form of punishment that is needed to rectify and to give us the space to rectify. That doesn't mean we should see it as a blessing. You want to break through that system. Okay, now the sum total of reincarnate with the iron is 681. We'll get back to that in a little bit. First of all, I want to look at the spelling out. So the spelling out of both. Here I did, these are the last three letters, Yud, Vav, Nun. So the whole first letters stand in this space here. And then Yud, Vav, Nun version and plus the Ayin version. So right, left, I split it up. So what we see in the reincarnation is 510 plus 130 plus 20, 106, 100, 111 plus 510 plus 73 plus 111 plus 419 plus 20 plus 13 plus 106. Feel free to recalculate. I did it more than 4 times, so I'm very sure that it's precise. Gives us a total of 2229. Now the rule is that you can break down the thousands to ones. So that will be 229 plus 2 makes 231, which is Re La. Yesh, Re La. Yesh, I'll write that down. There is, or substance, Re, which is a permutation of Israel, right? There are 231 gates, okay? Aleph with every letter with Aleph. We'll get back to that in a little bit because there's more allusions to this here. Now, if we take the Sofit letters, the Soif, yes, the Soif letters, sorry, the ending letters, the Bishin, Nun, Dalet, Nun, Fei, Fei, Shin, Lamet, Fei, Taf, Dalet, Vav, Nun. We get a value of 1434, which again we break down the 1000, which is a 1, and paste it as a 1 on the 4. So that gives us a 435, which is the value of Ha-Nefesh, which is also precise because the Nefesh, Malchut, level Nefesh, Asiya here, Nefesh, Nefesh, and Yetzirah, Ruach, which will be coming by in the study various times also. So Nefesh is that level and that reincarnation of the recomposure, the structure of a new gufa, right? Which is not the same gufa you had before, but we'll leave that for later in the video to dive into these details. So this is also connected, the Nefesh. Now, what I wanted to look at was then the permutation of reincarnate. So with the Ayin, the sum total there was 2,220, which is an interesting number because you can view it, the 0, as non-existing. It's 3 2s, okay? And that's the 222 is the value of various things. First of all, it's the value of Bekor, which is the firstborn. And we'll read a bit of Torah later, which uses a bekor without a vav as well, and then we'll expound upon that. What else is 222? Rechav, and we need to read. We'll read Likkutei in a little bit to go through this. So first I'll give you the data, and then I'll give you the explanation. It's also Kavar, which is the river that flows in 4 directions. So 4 directions you see here. Okay, so these 3 letters, all the same letters, right? The resh being 200, the kaf being 20, and the beit being 2. If we do the milui of these letters, you get beit, kaf, resh. It doesn't matter in which order you do it. And then the pregnant letters, which are the letters that come after the original word, which was beit, kaf, resh, are then yutaf, 410, plus 80, 490, plus 310 is 800. So we call that pregnant letters, or milei. The milei, value 800, which points us at the 8th day. 7 days under the mother, a fire offer to Hashem on the 8th day, which is the mother. Okay, Bina, the 8th day is the mother. Put it in 8. You get another pen for that. The 8th day. Okay. Bina, a fire offering to Hashem on the 8th day. So these are the 7 days. Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malchut, which are also your Merkava, right? The chariot you ride upon, because you are none of these forms, okay? So this is your spirit form. You have a spirit, you're not your spirit. This is your desire form. You have desires, you're not your desire. This is your holy form. Oh, aren't we all holy? This is your soul form. This is your emotion form. You feel a kind of way. Start projecting upon reality your mental form, contemplating on these feelings and desires and emotions, and projecting it on the physical gufa reality, ma, through the gufa, right? In your actions, you project it upon reality and make a distorted vision thereof, which is idolatry. Okay, so where were we? Now, we did this expansion, right? And let me see. Yes, okay. I'm back on track. The sum total here was, with the iron, so reincarnate, 681. Okay, and the 681 is a figure we'll see a lot. So I transported the 681 towards here, because we had the firstborn, Bekor, we had graft to ride, we had the river Kevar, which we'll read about in Yechezkel, which has everything to do with the wheels and the 4 chayot, the 4 living creatures, which is very much connected to reincarnation. You'll see that as we go. I'll start explaining little by little. So what I did was write down the firstborn, the grafting, or the ride, right? This alludes to the Merkava, as well as to graft, which has to do with the letters, and we'll read about that in Likkutei, almost. So hang in there. The value of these 3 is 666 plus 15 is 681, which is the value of Ha'arba'a Meshichem. So you can also say Me Ha'arba'a Meshich. So from the 4 Mashiachim, because the 4 wheels connect to many things, right? They connect to the 4 fallen Mashiachim, the 4 directions as we treat it, and also the 4 mother letters, but I'm not allowed to speak on that. That's another study. You need to sign up for school.com/Yirah to learn true, authentic Kabbalah, each to its level, because we have from Aleph to Tav to Soid of the Soid. Okay? And there's no place that teaches Lashon HaKodesh. There's no place that teaches these matters so profoundly as Master Yirah does. So let us proceed. Okay, time for the very first source. So again, Likkutei Yirah 9, Amazon.com, bookbaby.com. Scan the QR code for World Peace Initiative document, page 21. And we'll start in this part. The divine mystery of the chariot Merkava. I will now explain the method of ascension. The root of the word Merkava is Rechav. Here, Rechav, see it? Which denotes to ride. However, this word also means grafting. Thus one grafts through a combination of letters, patsufim, and divine names, ascending from glory to glory into that place beyond all created order until one finds themselves before the great darkness from which the glory of God is made known. It is written regarding this in Exodus 20:21. So the people stood afar off, but Moses drew near the thick darkness where God was. The people are the world and material things, and as one ascends the mountain glory by glory, they separate from that which is mundane and material, shedding mortality, and ascends through the mystery of all created orders, and ascending past these things unto the arrival of that great darkness, the secret of secrets, from which the glory of God is made known. He made darkness his secret place. His canopy around him was dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. Tehillim 18:11, Psalms. Lift your eyes to heaven, beholding that which is of the created orders above. Look upon the earth beneath, beholding that which is of the created orders below. Ascending with the divine chariot, beholding the eyes to the orders of that which is above and that which is below, uniting and grafting, right, Rechav, these things together as the divine chariot ascends from glory to glory, and from this grafting one causes the heaven and the earth to pass away through the unity of these two things. The illusion of separation vanishes like vapor, and the material as the earth perishes as a garment. For the material and immaterial become no more, as one ascends from glory to glory, arriving at the divine union of his bridal chamber, by which the former things have passed away, and a new heaven and new earth are formed, not from material and corruptible things, but incorruptible things. Yeshayahu 65:17. See, I will create new heavens and new earth. The former things will not be remembered, nor will they come to mind. So grafting, once again, you see the emphasizing orange there, Resh, Kaf, Beit. Grafting, one letter to another, one world to another, one divine name to another. Each combination from Merkava combines the power of the divine names, the Sefirot, and the letters. When these are grafted to an individual, they direct him, forming every possible permutation, because their essence is sealed within the permutations. Every key of wisdom is given over to the individual who gazes, sees, and understands. When an individual looks into these permutations in a proper manner, he can see all creations. This is likened to a person who looks into a glass mirror. He sees both his own face and the faces of all who pass by. When the power of the influx begins to manifest and reveals itself to one gazing into the mirror, the letters and Sefirot begin to appear before him. like lightning flashes. Regarding this, it is written, the Chayot ran and returned like a vision of lightning. Yechezkel 1:14. The Sefer Yetzirah states, 10 Sefirot of nothingness, their vision, Tzafi, is like a flash of lightning. Like flashes of lightning, the letters Patrufim, worlds and divine names, flash before the eyes as one ascends from glory to glory. The living creatures, Chayot, are the forms which behold the glory of the light, like a ladder that ascends upwards, a ladder of letters, a ladder of Sefirot, a ladder of Patrufim, a ladder of worlds, tree, fruit, seed, that is, from Aleph to Tav. Okay, let us proceed here. Next source would be the Torah Shemot. And it's found in Shemot, Exodus, if that's what you call it, 4, verse 22. You shall say to Paro, so said Hashem, my firstborn is Yisrael. Yudke Wavke B'nei Bekori Yisrael. See, Beit Kaf Reish Bekor, without a Vav. And there's a whole study on it. That is deficient. But it's about the firstborn, because 231 gates, everything is contained within it. That's where you come in, right? So the sum total of potential and everything you know is in there, right? So you come in firstborn, and your purpose is to graft and write, right? With these letters, right? The 4 directions, we'll get to that. We're almost there. And become a blessing, okay? Baruch. Also written with the same letters. And I just said deficient as it has no Vav in it, like we just saw in the Tanakh, Bekori, no Vav. Okay, that's a deficient writing. And deficiency is Mum, Mem, Vav, Mum, Mem, which values 86, like Elohim, like Ha-Kiseh, the throne upon which Elohim sits, which are the forms Yetzirah, Zerah, and Pin. Okay, so that is it. Up till now, we can look further to what we'll find here. But first of all, I think it would be good. Yes, we'll go to Gilgul first, but I wanted to just quickly explain that the firstborn is grafted through the 231 gates in order to become the blessing, as I just said, right? So that also suits reincarnation. That's what I want to emphasize here, because the essential root remains. Its arrangement, a garment or vessel changes, right? You don't have the same gufa, but the firstborn is not destroyed in the process, it is recomposed. And because nefesh appears, right, the process is specifically occurring at the level of the living soul entering another composition. So that's why we find nefesh, right? There's a new gufa. But again, as we go to Yechezkel, about the wheels, we'll dive in deeper into what this is really telling us. So this is for later. I marked with colors to make the connections. So where were we? School.com/Yirah. Gilgul, right? Reincarnation. Now, reincarnation, it is a gimel. Progress, lamet is staff or vibration. Now, it is also, lamet spelled out means teacher, learner, right? To learn, because the lamet has a yud on the top. It has a yud on the top, and it's the most outstretched non-Safit letter there is, which points us at at the shefa of Yud downwards, right? But when one doesn't make progress or stagnates or even goes against, there will be no many rounds, right? And one can be annihilated. Yet these root souls remain. That is a fact. So the progress of learning, one could say, Lamed, from the teacher, to another progress of Vav, the forms, Zerampin, learning. Okay, so from progress to progress. So you keep coming back until the quarter drops, right? So the value thereof is 72 in Gematria, which is equal to Chesed, which could be taken as an act of Rachamim, right? But substance, right? Chesed is always often compared to water, for example. And then the ordinal is Gevura, 36, which is an ordinal number pointing at order, right? Gevura gives that order. So that system of order to the substance. And then the Katan value is 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 6 plus 3 is 18, which is Chai. And we'll see that the Chayot are greatly involved here in the writings. Chai, right? And Galgalta, like Galgal, hints at skull also, which are made of 22 bones, Aleph to Tav. Okay, so everything greatly connected here, but so much there that we have to decide what to and what not to share today. Okay, so Pinchas 45. Okay, let us read about this before we dive into the real matters here. So in the Zohar, book 20 of the Kabbalah Academy version, we'll read about the grafting also. We won't read this whole chapter. We're going to certain parts. But here it explains about a levirate marriage. One may graft, and then you see that the word markivin, Reish Kaf Beit. It has the Reish Kaf Beit in it, okay? This, however, is a somewhat more important text. So here it says, in the orange marked, right? I'll press it down, so. V'hayu Raza de Gilgul, right? Galgal letenua bela amat hamayim of hachi amat hamayim Raza da'at vav. Okay. Translated as, and the English really doesn't do it justice, but for this particular study, this suffices. And this is the secret of reincarnation, right? Literally rolling. The wheel does not move without the flow of water through the conduit. So also the conduit is the secret of the letter Vav by which the wheel is turned. And the secret of the matter is that just as the wheel will have no motion without the aqueduct, so also the wheel, which is the letter Yud, will have no motion without the aqueduct, which is the letter Vav. A deceased brother's widow is Hey, and we thus have Bina ben Ya, right? With the letter Yud. He created the world to come, which is an extended world, namely the letter Vav. Okay. Vav being Zerampin, indeed. So we have just identified that the wheels, right, are connected, and we will read in a little bit about it in the Tanakh, so that you know from the Zohar that we're speaking about reincarnation as well. There's many more connections because these four wheels is also connected to Moshe, and it's also likened to but no, we'll leave that for later. Okay. Lehit galgal, to reincarnate, right? So it's undergoing it, right? Has a value of 501, which is temuna. Temuna, form, substance, the image, the blueprint, one could say. Because Bina, Ima, Elohim created with that light that she had without Abba, but it was the light of Chokhmah. It was just not connected to Abba. So the blueprint, yet in the image of Elohim, right? And then the ordinal is 67, which is the value of Bina, which again is that order, right? That order. So all connected there. Next was the Milui of Gilgul. So 70 plus 44 is 114 plus 70, 184 plus 7, 191 plus 40, 231 plus 4, 235. So we already see 235, the Milei is the value of Rela, 231. Again, a connection there to what we ought, where we are re-established to try and start grafting or write the Merkava, right, in order to glorify his name, right, with the letters, through the letters, the Aleph Tav that come from the skull. 22 bones in the skull represent that. And Galgal, skull, the Rosh, higher matters represented in us, our physical bodies, which are lower representations thereof. So, okay, so the ordinal value of these pregnant letters was 91, which is the value of Amen. Important word there. And the Katan value is 37. If we combine 235, 91, and 37, we get 363, which is Mashiach, because we're speaking also about Ha'arba'a Mashiachim, the four fallen Mashiachim, right? Deficient, no Yud. These are those that are found in that lower system, right? Fallen into the pit. Ben Yosef, Ben Ephraim, Ben Dan, and Ben David, okay? It's only Melech HaMashiach that comes. The owner of the pit shall make it good, okay? So, the highest light that fell the lowest. So that's what's happening here, and Mashiach. Okay, so the Soif letters would be the very last letters. So Lamet, Dalet, Lamet, Waf, Dalet have a value of 74, ordinal 38, and Katan 20, making a total of 132. And Gematria is way beyond regular mathematics, so tzerufable. That means you can switch letters and you can switch numbers, because letters and numbers, right, it's all connected. So the mirror image of 132 is 231 gates. Once again alludes to Rela, Yesh Rela. There is 231 gates. Nothing escapes it. Okay, the next thing I did was a triangular expansion, right? You can see there, triangular expansion has a value of 186. And 186 in Kollel is Ofanim. And we're almost ready to start reading the next source, but it's also the mirror of 681, which was found here. And 681 was that value of the firstborn, the grafting, and the river Kebar, which was 681, also the value of Ha'arba'a Mashiachim. Okay? So that's found in there as well. Mirror image of Ofanim. And we'll identify one of the secrets about Ofanim through the Torah itself. Then let me do this one before we proceed. The Atbash. Okay, that's good for practice purposes also for all of you. Let us go to the page of ciphers. That'll be here. And then we have here the album. This is where you look up the word you want to check in another cipher. And then here we have the Atbash, right? Tree of the face, tree of the Gufa, the body, right? So, Penei, Achorim, Kaf sits in the Lamed, okay? This is where the face is found. So, we have Gal, Go, Gil, Gu. That means we have to go to the Gimel, Aleph, Beit, Gimel. And as I said, we would do it in the Atbash, which is next to here. So we'll look, the socket of Bina, what do we find? Is a resh. So then I put the resh first. Then we'll go to the Lamed, which sits in Keter of the backside, which is a Kaf. So I put the Kaf here. Then we have another Gimel, so that automatically is another resh. We don't have to check again. Then we'll check the Vav. So what is the Vav here? The Vav sits in the socket of Gevura, and that is a Fei. So I put the Fei there, and then another Lamed, another Kaf. So I did a triangular expansion there, and again, we have a tenfold of the 186, yet that is the exact same number within Kabbalah, okay? So you can disregard the 0 and see the 186 and see the 681, okay? Again, in Kollel, Ofanim, everything is present there. So things keep repeating, and it's not, coincidence is a word you should erase from your dictionary. So we're ready for the next sources, but I wanted to emphasize that the Illyrianic, the 4 Chayot living creatures represent the 4 messianic archetypes. I just named them Ben Dan, Ephraim, Yosef, and Ben David, right? They are inseparably connected to the Ophanim, the wheels in Yechezkel's vision, which we're about to read in a little bit. For the wheels move because the spirit of the Chayot is within them, and spirit is the Ruach, right? The turning wheels symbolize the ongoing cycles of Gilgul. It's like the Samech. The Samech means cycle also, right? When you see a Samech in a word, it's a cycle, and it's like the Ouroboros, right? Like the snake that eats its own tail. So that eats its own tail and keeps coming back, right? The serpent, that evil that keeps coming back, right? Because, so, really, the ongoing cycles, the repeated revolutions in history, right? The soul and the gathering of the scattered sparks, the 4 corners of the earth, which we had here, right? In the 4 directions, which we'll read as well in Yechezkel, about each face turning to its direction. So the 4 living creatures reveal its heavenly pattern. Every Gilgul is another turn of the Merkava, which in Merkava you find these 3 letters as well, right? Until the scattered aspects of Adam are reunited, right? The rectification of the situation. It's not getting any better in this place. I think we can all tell we are spiritually digressing, right? We are digressing greatly. Humanity is digressing greatly. So let us go to the next source, namely the Tanakh. And then we'll start here, because just to show you, we won't read it because there's a lot here. But what we will do is show you that Nahar, river, Kevar, right? The river Kevar, 20 plus 2 plus 200, 222. visions of God, and God is Elohim, right? Do not mistake God, Elohim, for Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, okay? So, and Meorot has the permutation of Mod, Mem Tav, and Or, right? From death to life. So the visions of God. The river Kabar into 4 directions. We'll go through it from verse 17. When they went, they would go forward. Their 4 sides, they did not turn as they went. They had backs and they were tall and they were fearsome. Their backs were full of eyes surrounding the 4 of them. Because it says 7 eyes upon 1 stone. Eyes always points at the 7 forms, right? Plural. Plural of eyes is always 7 forms. When the Chayos would go, the Ophanim would go next to them. And when the Chayos were lifted from upon the surface, the Ophanim were lifted. Toward wherever there was the spirit to go, they would go. For there was the spirit to go, the Ophanim were lifted facing them. For the spirit in the Chaya was in the Ophanim. When the Chayos would go, the Ophanim would go, and when they halted, they halted. And when they were lifted from upon the surface, the Ophanim were lifted facing them. For the spirit in the Chaya was also in the Ophanim. Now I made notes because the spirit is the Ruach, right? Ruach. So the Ophanim, the spirit within the Ophanim hints at the Ruach, which is Zerampin, right? Chesed, Gevurat, Tiferes, Netzach, Yesod. Chesed, Gevurat, Tiferes, Netzach, Yesod. Okay? Let's proceed. And then Ophanim, the Ophanim itself, connected to Malchut, because it is written, 1 Ophan over the world, and the world is Malchut, which we had here also, the curses, right, to Malchut, Kol Mavet, all death, hinting at the earth, right, so that is Malchut. So Malchut being connected there, we read about the Nefesh, so this is the Gufa, right, this is the physicality, world of action, connected to Gufa, okay, so that's precise. So last thing I want to do is map out for you guys something, and that's namely when we read Decoded Zohar, I have a special document by Master Yirah which I'm not allowed to share with commentary thereon, and it is about Yechezkel as we just read it, right? Yechezkel 1 and 10. It's about when these moved, they moved. I can read the original source though, of course. So 409, it reads, come and see the meaning of when those moved, these moved. Yechezkel 1:17 is as we said, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up along with them. Because as the living creatures move and are lifted up, so do the wheels. Why? For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. The spirit of the living creature is the Holy Spirit, blowing and striking the wheels to make them move. Thus whatever is in a high grade carries whatever carries it. Come and see, the ark, Aaron, was carrying whoever carried it. Here also the living creatures were carrying the wheels. Okay, so the ark, and that's interesting. Let me map this out for you guys, because here we have a tree, right? So these are your 7 days under the mother. 6th, 7th, Nefesh, Ruach, Nefesh, Ruach. Okay, it's almost empty. So the Aron has a value of 1256 with a capital Aleph, which values 1,000, Resh 200, Vav a 6, and a Nun 50, 12, 56. And we know from other teachings that this value is the same value as the sum total of Akatariel, Metatron, and Sandalphon. And Sandalphon would be connected to Malchut Asiya. Okay, Sandal, take your shoes off. Sandalphon is 280. Metatron is 314. And Akatariel, whose level is Berea, has a value of 662. 662 plus 314 plus 280 is 1256. Now, what is important is that what was mentioned here was Hachayot, right? And Hachayot, the living creatures, values 429, over whom Akatariel is ministering angel. Okay. Now, Metatron over Ha-Seraphim. Seraphim. And Sandalphon over Ha-Ophanim. And Ha-Seraphim is 635. Ha-Ophanim, which we read, which I explained was connected to the Gufa and physicality. Values 192. 429 plus 635 plus 192 is also 1256. We just read it. The ark was carrying whoever carried it. Here also the living creatures were carrying the wheels. Now, spirit, because for the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. Spirit is a ruach, okay? Let us look. Here's your spirit, right? Ruach. These are the midot, the 6 forms, right? Being Zerampin and Yetzirah. So this is connected to the world of Yetzirah. Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. The wheels, as it is written, one oven over the world. So we see that is precise. Ofen, world, Malchut, right? Malchut is world. And physical body. The physical body is divided into 4 parts, as the Ofen is, right? Wheels within wheels. And these are 4 wheels. So I won't go beyond that. What I can say is the level of Asiya is the level of inanimacy, right? And the level of Yetzirah of plants, the level of Berea is in the secret of animals, and the level of Atzilut is in the secret of men. Let me show you here. I won't allude completely here, but we see there Merkava ha-Berea, right? The chariot of Berea. So we see man, the face of man, face of a lion, face of the shore, right? Ari, shore, ox, and eagle, which is considered to be Israel. Okay? And then we have all the names. 72, 63, 45, 52. It's all there. It's for another study, but to show you, these are the Chayot, right? The living creatures, as well as way more concepts that it covers, which we're not diving into. What is interesting to show you, here's the heart spark, that is Re La. Yesh Rela, there is, or the substance of 231. Aleph with every letter, and every letter with Aleph. Okay, 22 letters, 22 bones in the skull, Galgalta, skull. Okay, 22. It's all connected. But let's proceed a little. So, the connection here is precise. And as I said, Atzilut is in the secret of man. There are supernal beasts above the other beasts, for the lower beasts are the beasts of Yetzirah, and the supernal beasts are the beasts of the garden in the world of Bina. The throne under the Elohim of Israel has the image of Yaakov. The throne, as has been established, has a numerical value of Elohim, right? I just showed you, Hakiseh, and refers to the supernal Ima, who is over the aspect called Yisrael and has the image of Yaakov. This spirit, right, has power over everything, right? And therefore a spirit emerges from above, from Bina, and goes out, flowing from one grade to another. In example, from above, as it's written, a river goes out of Eden and it pools in each of the 7 seas, which are the aspects of Zerampin, until it strikes the lower beings below. There's a lower chariot, in example, the Yetzirah inside of Asiya and Beria, Yetzirah and Asiya. As he explains, the spirit has power over everything and it establishes everything, so they will keep. This is why it's written, all weapons are in the hand of the queen, who is the supernal Ima. And we just read it, it's Merkava, Haberia, okay? That's why Akatariel, level Beria, Hachayot, level Beria, Aserafim, over the Ruach Zerampin, and Haofanim, the Gufa. It's all connected. So, and then when we read about the living creatures, I saw under the Elohim of Yisrael, right, this has been established, living because he illuminated with the aspect of Chaya, under the Elohim because it refers to the supernal Ima, Ima Ilaha of Yisrael, because it refers to the sphere of Tiferet. Yeah, Yisrael. Right, so called Yisrael, right? The Sephira of Tiferet called Israel. As from that living creature a spirit emerges, that living creature has the aspect of life and refers to Yetzirah, called spirit Ruach. So you can see everything is connected. There's many more secrets in here. Like I said, 4 legs to the throne, 72, 63, 45, 52 name. So, Shor, Ari, Nesher, Adam. Right? Let us take a look at what's going on there. We'll find ourselves. Then he said to the man clothed in linen, come between the Galgal, right? Gilgul. So this hints at the reincarnation beneath the cherub, and fill your copper hands with fire coals, right? From among the cherubim, and throw them upon the city. And the city is, he entered before my eyes. The city is Zerampin, because we have, each Sephira has a full tree to it, right? And Zerampin, so if we look at a full tree, you'll have Abba, the elder, right? Ima, father, mother. We have the son, Zerampin, that's the next Patsuf, and we have Bat, the daughter, which is then the Nukva in Malchut. So that makes a whole family, and times all these, right? So this is why when it speaks about the city, it always hints at the 6, I hate the 7, are an abomination, the forms, okay? So may that be clear. Fire coals as 7 days under the mother, a fire offering to Hashem on the 8th day, okay? So that has to do with the purification there needed. Now we'll continue in the blue part. As for the opening, they were called the Galgal. Within my earshot, each one had 4 faces. The one face, the face of a cherub, the second face, the face of a man, the third, the face of a lion, and the fourth, the face of the eagle. When the cherubim rose up, it was the Chaya that I had seen at the river Kabar. Now, in this particular part, it has a cherub instead of a shore, an ox. But there's also a source that mentions the ox. So we'll look at a Gematria I did there in a little bit. It's very interesting to see all these connections, because now, what else have we to do here? Yes, well, let's go through it immediately. Because I wrote down Pnei Hashor, the face of the ox, Pnei Adam, right, the face of man, Yirah Hari, which is the face of a lion, and Pnei Nesher, the face of the eagle. And the sum total Gematria thereof, so that will be Pnei 80 plus 50, 130 plus 10, it's 140 times 4, right? So you can calculate it yourself, 45, 506, 216, and 550 plus the Vav and the Hey. We can leave the Vav Hey out and calculate the full tree, including Das, because there's 11, and each, like you saw in the cipher, having backs and fronts, which make a total of 22 letters, which is the full construct of everything we know, right? 22 letters, Aleph to Tav. Okay, so the value, the sum total value gives us an 1888, which you could take the 1000, break it down to a 1. You can also see the source, the crown from which everything emanates, as a capital Aleph, which is 1000, and then say the 888 is 4 times the 222, because we just, well, read this last little part here. This was the Chaya that I had seen beneath the God of Israel at the river Kabar. I realized that there were cherubim, each one had 4 faces, and each one had 4 wings, and there was the form of human hands beneath their wings. As for the likeness of their faces, they were the faces by which I saw the river Kabar. Their appearances were the same as theirs. Each one went in the direction he faced. So this hints at the 4 directions, okay? I'm not allowed to speak too much about other subjects, but 4 legs to the throne, 4 Mashiachim, fallen Mashiachim, right? Okay, so the 888 is 4 times Beit Kaf Resh. And I'd like to summarize that as the firstborn, Israel, grafting, right, within the 231, in the 4 directions to become a blessing. So that's the 888. Now let me see, where did I get the, oh yeah. Then I wrote down Arba'a Panim, 4 faces, has the value of HaMelech HaMashiach, because for certainly the 5th point there, because the division is in 5 also. There's 5 fingers, there's 5 toes, 5 olamot, there's 5 soul levels, there's 5 books of Moshe, 5 Sofit letters, 5 senses, which is the great problem, right? The 5 senses through which we pollute and distort reality. Not really, but we create a false reality and thereby do the opposite of glorifying holiness, right? So yeah, that should be it. And then the last source I would want to read with you all is Likkutei 23:24. Already got it here. And we'll start in the orange part. So God gave us the Torah, teaching us the way of permutations and the steps of the letter involving the mystery and letters, Without such information, it is impossible to reach a level of knowing God. For the nature of God, whose being is that most high source of all things, whose nature is to accept the lower things, having he himself created all things perishable and imperishable, made his glory known, he did so through a certain poor one, the Dalet, the Nukva, the Shekhinah, equaling Mashiach. I won't say too much. The nature of lower things is to reject the lower things. Therefore, when the highest of all things came garbed in the lowest of all things, he was rejected. The sage Abu Lafia, may he be blessed, said so. And that one who sends glory to glory brought down light of the eternal, his clouds of gloom and sorrow which surround him, and from which so many have fallen, parted that light which is that very life of all things came into the world. The 10 sephirot of nothingness, close your mouth that it not speak of them, and your heart that it not think. And if your heart runs, return it to its place. It is thus written, B'chayot ran and returned. Regarding this, a covenant has been made. You already know that Yeshayahu said, declare the letters backwards, then we will know that you are gods, that you can do good and evil, and we will meditate and see together. Yeshayahu 41:23. He also said, ask me of letters and commend me over my sons and the work of my hands. Yeshayahu 45:11. And behold also, tell them of the letters that will come, Yeshayahu 44:7. And that brings me to Shlach Lecha 288 of the Zohar. We'll read that in a little bit. Let's read the rest first. Now regarding these things, when you pray and study, let my words not forsake you, with every word and expression that leaves your lips. Have in mind to bring about a unification. Every single letter contains universal souls and godliness, and as they ascend, one becomes bound to the other, and they become unified. The letters then become unified to form a word. They are then actually unified with the divine essence, and in all these aspects your soul is included with them. All universes are then unified as one, as his glory is revealed. It is written, Yirat Hashem Rashit Chochma, Yirat Hashem Rashit Das. Yirah, the fear of Hashem, the awe, admiration of Hashem, is the beginning of wisdom and the beginning of knowledge. So last and certainly not least, Shlach Lecha, book 18 of the Zohar, 288. The names. All these letters never rest. They stand out and sparkle externally and rise and descend. No one could understand anything about them except for Messiah with great toil. That name gets hidden after staying around for 2 hours and 22 minutes. Aleph Tav. And that name, which is engraved in 72 letters, emerges. It stays suspended in the air an hour and a half. All these names do not emerge and do not appear except once a day, but the letters of the alphabet are visibly flying in the air and combining 3 times a day. So no one could understand anything about them except for Messiah with great toil. My dear friends, I present to you Likkutei Yirah 9. In great tears, you can find the Lashon HaKodesh explained starting from page 315. Okay? So, get yourself a physical copy. If you cannot afford one, we have a free PDF copy for you available. Shalom, Selah, many blessings.